Good afternoon, everyone. It is just 2 minutes past the hour. We'll go ahead and get started. This is the Meridian Parks and Recreation Commission regular meeting for the month of August. Rachel, would you please begin with the call of the roll?
Yes, thank you. Dom Gelsomino,
Present.
Jennifer Bobo, Mandy Roberts,
Present.
Joe Greer is absent, Ellie Hood,
Present.
Bree Sandow,
Present.
Terry Dennington,
Here.
John Nesmith,
Present.
Alan Helms.
Present.
Thank you, Rachel. A quorum being present, we will move to the next item, which is the adoption of tonight's agenda. Do we have a motion for the adoption of tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Commissioner Nesmith.
Yes.
Oh, we have a motion from Commissioner Nesmith. Do we have a second?
I'd be happy to second that motion.
Seconded by Commissioner Roberts. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So ordered. We'll move on to the approval of the minutes from the July 9th, 2025 regular meeting. Do we have a motion for the approval of July's minutes?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Nesmith. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Helms. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So ordered. Announcements are next, and we will begin with our very own Shelley Houston with our upcoming events.
It's nice to see you all. Oh, there you are. I'm sorry I was absent last month. We had some family drama I had to be involved with. So I'm here now, and boy, we have been cooking and booking. Summer has gone by in the blink of an eye, and we're already gearing up for fall. But we do have some of our summer favorites that still have a bit more to go. For instance, our Meridian Main Street Market is still doing well, and it'll end on August 30th. So we got a couple more sessions of the Main Street Market here at City Hall. We've also got an additional concerts on Broadway show. It'll feature the Billy Blues Band on September 6th. Last Saturday night, we had a group called Rockabetty, and it was kind of a tribute to all the female rockabilly greats of the 50s and 60s. So it was educational and fun, and there was music and dancing. So that's gone well, and we'll have the third show, like I say, on September 6th. The Connections Credit Union Kleiner Park Live wraps up this Friday with Redstone. They're kind of classic rock, and they're going to really bring it. We're going to hear very shortly from Renee White, our events coordinator. She can get into some more details about these things. Our guided historic walking tours of downtown continue. We've got a beautiful art show up in the gallery you might want to check out. It features the artwork also of one of our arts commissioners. So that's kind of special. And then, gosh, then right now we're heavy into planning for Meridian Art Week and the Meridian Art Party, Trunk or Treat, Veterans Day, Christmas in Meridian. The fun keeps happening. So anyway, does anyone have any questions or comments or concerns right now for me?
Any questions for Shelley from the commission?
Okay, Renee's going to fill you in on more of the good stuff. The one other thing I left you besides the little printed calendar events, I keep weeding off the events that are already kind of water under the bridge. Hot off the press, I practically need oven mitts, is the fall activity guide. And that was just posted today at meridiancity.org/activity guide. So it's full of lots of good information about upcoming classes and activities. It's got a special 5 or 6 page section on Meridian Art Week and what people can participate in. And so take a look at it, or just keep in mind that it's a good resource for people wondering, what in the heck do these people do? Okay, it was good to see you all. Have a great meeting.
Thank you, Shelley.
Welcome
We're
back.
glad to have you back. We do not have any old business. New business, we have, okay, yes, I'm sorry, I apologize. We do have new business. We'll begin with our City of Eagle Parks and Pathways update with Eric Zeigenfuss.
Okay, this is a little bit different than what we got at City of Eagle, so I apologize if I botched this a little bit here. Commission, just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to come in and take some of your time, and want to say thanks to Steve, Mike, he was the one that we actually talked about, Garrett, nice seeing you guys again. But just wanted to say thanks for giving us the opportunity to present what's going on with your neighbor up north a little bit. I thought what we could do is kind of start. We're a little bit different in Eagle, as you can see, Public Works, right? Well, why are we called Public Works? Because, well, we don't do any water, we don't do any sewer, we don't really take care of any of the streets. So thought we could kind of start with a little history of how I ended up in front of you tonight or today. So this is our crew here. This is our parks crew, facility, admin. I mean, everybody from top to bottom in the Public Works crew. We are a department of about 21. We started off with a crew of 2 and now have grown exponentially. So as they are so lovingly called the Motley Crew, that's what we call them. So Public Works, we started in 2017. We were pretty young for a department. Before that time, we subcontracted almost everything out in the City of Eagle. When I say everything, I mean everything far as changing light bulbs in the City Hall, down to broken drinking fountains in the parks, got repaired by a subcontractor. Any construction that was being placed in the city was basically done through an RFP process or even more in-depth kind of construction. Nothing really ran across the department. And then I came along. Previous mayor said he wanted to start bringing stuff in-house, got quite expensive, and ta-da, Public Works was born. This is kind of a quick timeline of some of the things that we've done, and all these things were done mostly in-house. What kind of sets us apart is that we do a lot of construction, pour concrete, we put in playgrounds in, all that, and it's kind of all in-house. So there's that. Uh-oh. There we go. So real quickly, some of the things that we take place in our department that have been a lot of fun to kind of do over the years. We do a lot of skill building in our department. This is one thing that we've kind of capitalized on. This was a chainsaw training that we did with our city arborist. The U.S. Forest Service came in and said, hey, if you guys are dropping trees and doing all this fun stuff, we should probably train you how to do that. So we took a day at one of our facilities, trained up the crew. We also do a lot of things of OSHA training and this and that. And actually, we've consulted with your guys' parks department on what you guys do here in Meridian to kind of help us not reinvent the wheel to what you guys do. Okay, here we go. Oh, hang on, bear with me. The other thing is we handle all of the hazardous waste and solid waste management in the city. This was a little bit of a hot spot. If you didn't know, we went from a Republic service to Hardin with our citizens there, but in Public Works, we also take care of the household hazardous waste program, clean up city events. We handle anything far as that also. Trail stuff. So any pathway is in the Public Works department. This is Lakemore Trail. This was one that the developer actually made. Didn't build it to the city standard, turned it over, because I'm sure that never happens in Meridian. And there's been a bunch of issues with it. We came in with our crew, peeled up the asphalt top that was in it, come up with our own soil mix, laid that down, and made the repairs through this neighborhood. I am gonna screw this up 16 times to Sunday before I figure out what I'm supposed to do. Okay. Sorry. We had this great presentation where it was supposed to like fade in and out and it was going to impress the city of Meridian, but I'm screwing it up, so I apologize. So, okay. The other thing that kind of sets us apart in Eagle for Public Works is we are starting our own fiber optic utility as far as in our city. Funny story, maybe more of my nightmare, but we had a previous mayor that came in and said, hey, you know how to put stuff in the ground? Sure. Oh, here, you get to run fiber optic now. This has definitely been an adventure. You can see our personnel here. We run boring machines, underground conduit, server racks, kind of all of that. At the moment, we are going out for a public-private partnership to manage the network side, if you will, of this system, and then we handle all the construction in-house. So that's kind of a unique thing for Eagle. Again, I'm going to screw this up. The other thing is too, we kind of took a chapter out of Meridian and everyone else, and we also manage the memorial program. So we offer that to the citizens. We meet with them to, if they want to put a bench out for a loved one that has passed away, or even certain things like in this example, this was at Gerber Park. This was a business owner of DeBest Plumbing that approached us. So we put it at Gerber Park because that's where he liked to spend time with his grandkids. Again, I'm very disappointed that our impressive slideshow here is just not working. We're going to go a little bit quicker here. Obviously, we take care of any pump stations through the city. This was kind of a fun thing too. So we host an event every Wednesday to kind of bring in, Bogus Basin actually donated this airbag to the city. And probably your city attorney, if he's watching, is about cringing because the liability with launching a child or an adult about 8 feet in the air into an airbag, how do you get away with that? Well, I'm not really sure. I don't ask questions, we just do it. So we host this every Wednesday night as a recreation event. I would, as a commission or anybody who wants to come out, I'll volunteer a bike and you can try it. And if you can do a backflip, I'll give you $1. So this was kind of fun. And actually it's kind of a learning tool that we do for our bike park that's there. We have over a 100-acre bike park that has everything from a skills park where you can jump off of platforms, ride literally at a 90-degree angle sideways coming down a trail, like all these things. And this is a great training tool for kids that want to come out and ride. We've seen everything from 6-year-olds literally execute a backflip to some pro riders that come in and they do front flips and they practice when they're in the air for as all these things to go and compete nationwide throughout the country. I forgot to set my timer, so if I run long here, I apologize. This is another example of some pathways that we work on. This is the concrete jungle. We have the opportunity to have a lot of construction waste for the projects that we do. We have an all-weather trail that we made out of concrete waste. Our challenge is that the users wanted to use the bike park, and you can't really ride in the mud, and it cost us a lot of money to maintain those things. So we took developers and said, hey, give us your old concrete, we'll use our concrete, and we made a trail. A good example, you can see the rider in the upper right. That's a stamped piece of concrete from a city entrance that we rebuilt, but you can see the brick inlay in it. And now people can ride in the snow, rain, whatever, and it didn't cost us anything but just man hours. There was no material with it. So the bike park. The other thing is we've really tried to employee morale for the whole city of Eagle. This is a kind of an example. We were talking about what to put in the slides here, but we do, a gold star program with employees, this and that. We also have a department calendar. That's kind of a really funny thing that we do. You can see the pictures on the right. I didn't know, the crew just kind of did this and gave it to me as the director. And they're like, hey, this is kind of funny. Merry Christmas. So do a lot of stuff with that. Okay, let's get in the meat potatoes of stuff here. If I can trail stuff. I can't operate. I can't get to the next slide. Events. We've really tried to expand our events, I guess, in the last few years. Saturday market's always been really strong in Eagle. The produce has always been a hot topic. So we try and host one every Saturday, weather permitting. We've expanded our recreation, I guess, events for his Night of 1,000 Pumpkins, where we literally have citizens come in and carve 1,000 pumpkins, and we lay them out around City Hall. It's a great time for us cleanup and all those things, and then they get to take the pumpkins home at the end of the event. So that's kind of a neat thing. Country Christmas, we've moved that kind of for the downtown project that's there. That's at City Hall at the moment. And then also the legendary Eagle Fun Days. So there's that. Okay. Some other big things that we've kind of taken a part in. Our current mayor puts first responder stuff definitely as a priority. We've worked pretty in depth with Ada County Emergency Management, And we've come up with actually plans that have been dispersed out to different municipalities, or is just an emergency maintenance plan. We work with Eagle Fire District. Our department, if there's any kind of a natural disaster or thing, we're the ones that get dispatched out because we got big boy toys like backhoes and excavators and stuff to move trees, or if there's something in the river and everything there. So that's kind of a quick, brief, I guess, summary of what we do as a department. There's many, many attributes. I could take all the time in the world to kind of go over what we do, but that's in a nutshell. So we were asked to not present about ourselves, but we like to brag a little bit. What we really were asked about is to come in and talk about projects here in Eagle. So again, I apologize that this isn't working, but we have a ton of park development that is coming our way. This is Terraview Park. It's going to be at the corner of Highway 16 and Beacon Light. You know where the Valnova development is that's going to be there. It's just south of that. This is an 11-acre park. We're in construction phase with it right now. Irrigation's done, picnic shelter, all that. It is on schedule to get a splash pad, restroom, and new playground that's there, and that's going to be turned over to the city in next spring. If you've been to our Gerber Park, it's almost a mirror image of that. So that's exciting for us. And again, I'm not sure why. The other thing is Charlie Woods Park. If you're familiar with Edgewood Trail or Edgewood Street in Eagle, you head down that, there's a dead end there, there's a Starbucks. We have a couple parking spots there. Walk down the trail, and to your left, there is a bare open spot of property that's right there next to the river. We are in conversations with a developer right next to this, Renison, to join his common area with this as kind of a nature park, if you will. There are walkways here, ponds, fishing ponds, but it's not really a manicured park. It's just kind of a natural park, and highlight the use of the greenbelt, the river, reptilian, butterfly gardens and everything there. Really want this to work. Pamela Baker Park. So we had a developer come in and actually donate this park to us in the name of his sister, Pamela Baker. The first two that are all designed out there, those were done by Dennis Baker. We're in development with this also. The last parcel was actually a City of Boise parcel that was for a future drainage pond because there's a water treatment plant there. We have this here. We're getting irrigation put in. We got a pump station that's put in. It's all designed. We're waiting for this to move up in our capital projects for city council to fund this. In our capital plan, we have to kind of budget with transportation and all that. So whoever wins kind of gets that funding. This one didn't rank super great, so this will probably change the development of this park.
Sorry, where did you say that was, Eric?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Pamela Baker.
Commissioner, that is at Colchester and Eagle Road, if you will. If you know where the Lux movie theater is, just keep going down that road. That's Colchester. And when you get to the dead end, there's a restroom there, some grass, and that's where that park will be at. Another project that we have going on, the whole city of Eagle is tore up. If you didn't know, come on down. It's lots of fun to get around. This is Heritage Park. This was our original plan of what we were going to do. Heritage Park is kind of our flagship with the gazebo that's in the middle of town. We had a plan to replace the splash pad, kind of redo that into an urban park to help with events. But council had some other plans. They kind of took this, and now we're doing a phased approach with this because of the price of construction. So at the moment, the big struggle with this was that the restroom was built in 1992. It was quite small. And we're tearing that down, rebuilding that to house all the mechanical for a future splash pad, sound system that's actually going to be piped through downtown project, or through the downtown project, which we're partnering with ACHD throughout the park and all these fun things. So we're getting that done first, along with some hardscape improvements, and that is scheduled to be completed this year in December, right before Country Christmas. Okay. Our regional sports complex. This is a 90-acre parcel that's over off of Highway 16. We've partnered with Valnova Development with this. This is kind of a slow go at the moment. We have phase one of this, the rear 4 baseball fields, which are labeled, 1, 2, and 3, and 4. in the farthest parcel. That's all been graded. There's a road that's going in there. We are at the moment trying to seek for some private funding dollars to help with this, because construction for this is quite expensive. This is somewhat like your guys' like Discovery Park. This takes a long time for this to kind of get together. The outcry for baseball fields in our community is quite loud, considering that we don't have any ever since Duck Alley kind of disappeared. So this is definitely a hot topic for council, and we're working very diligently to get this going. Shooting range. If you haven't heard, we have started development on a shooting range that's at the end of Eagle Road. It turns into Willow Creek or Willow Brook Road. You head north on Eagle Road, like you're heading towards Valnova. It's on the right-hand side. You can see kind of phase one in this. This is through the BLM property. We actually got this through Avamore, that they donated this property to us. We have phase one done, which is an archery range, which is stagnant, and also a 3D range that's there. We're in conversation with the Fish and Game to put up a building, something so they can start moving 4-H out there to do indoor shoots or small bore, airsoft, something like that, training for hunting and all that fun stuff. This has been a very hot topic in Eagle, as you can imagine. There's an open house if you guys would like to have actually to partner with a other shooting range that's just north of this of Avamore. If you'd like to come join, please do. So that's going to be, when is that? 14th? Whatever day it is. I think it's a Thursday this week. So there's that project. My favorite. I have to give kudos to Mr. Barton on this, Mr. Sidaway and Jeremy of your guys' staff. We are looking at moving, or actually building our first city shop, our maintenance facility. We've been operating out of a rental shop for a lot of years, had a mayor come in and say, hey, save that money. Let's move out to a veterinary office that we kind of inherited with our sports complex, and we kind of made that work. But we actually took your guys' maintenance shop plans and took them and sent them to an engineer and modified them, and went and toured your guys' facility many times. And we're partnering with the Eagle Fire District to kind of two birds, one stone of a training facility. So we have a burn building, we have a shop for them, an apparatus shop, extraction pad for the fire district, and then on top of that, a home for us to kind of stay forever. So we're really, really looking forward to that. Jackson House, we council purchased a historical home in the middle of Eagle. We've been slowly restoring this. There's two homes on the property. The one on the left is the actual Jackson house where Orville Jackson lived. We own it now, and we're trying to come up with a plan on what to do with it. We've actually have 5 different options that were presented last night at council. Once they decide for that, we'll be developing that into either a kickstart office area, some sort of event area, or what is what council comes back with. And then the lot behind it, we've actually worked with other developers, I guess, to the north, which is Walgreens and Zamzo's and everything, to put a city parking lot in to help with the downtown parking issue. Okay. We'll kind of mosey through these. I know I'm taking up a lot of your guys' time. We did some playground replacements at OK Park and Friendship Park. These are our little pocket parks that are up off of Ranch. These really don't get used a bunch, but it's kind of the homegrown parks that we have there. So it's been nice to give those a little bit of a facelift. We remodeled City Hall because apparently when cities grow, they take more personnel to run. Weird concept. So we tore down some walls. The clerk's area is now expanded. Last year, 2 years ago, we expanded City Hall by 10,000 square feet and added a community hall that was there. So Little Eagle, Idaho, which I remember as just, you had to pack a lunch to go out and visit when I was a kid. We have 90 employees now, which is quite a little bit compared to what it was years ago. So we did that also. And lastly, which obviously it's not going to work. Come on, computer. You know, the guy that argues with the computer so much and they want me to run a fiber optic utility, I tell you. The last thing I can't get to appear is that we are in the process of redoing our parks. It's been now commissioned as the Parks, Pathways, Trails, and Open Space and Recreation Hair Care and Tire Center plan, that they added it all in there. So we're redoing that. We're going through an RFP process right now. Last night that was approved. It's there. We will probably be coming to the city of Meridian to see if anybody would like to be on the selection board when we start working with the consultant or awarding that to a consultant. So that is a probably lengthier review than what you needed of everything that's going on in the city of Eagle. Do I stand for questions or comments?
Thank you, Eric. Quick question as far as your guys' pathways, how are those looking? And I'm sure, Kim, we've talked about this, throughout our meetings over the years is, do we see any new connections coming up soon between Meridian Pathways and Eagle Pathways?
Commissioner, we've actually had a meeting today with Eagle Island State Park that we've been working hard for that connection through there. It sounds like from our comments today that we're moving forward with that. Don't quote me on that, but it sounds like we've had good progress moving there. There's a development that's right next to it. That's about a 50-home development that's also looking at connecting into Maze Trail that's there. And we are expanding trails almost with every development that's coming in. The process has been a little back and forth, but when they come to our commission is called PPRC, and when they come there, they actually present their development that's there for connectivity through the trails and pathways. Rob and my crew that maintain the bike park, we're always looking for connectivity for up in the foothills. We've worked with Valnova to actually design and help them with their own little bike park that's up there in the foothills, adjoining to Avamore that's there. They're a little bit more aggressive into the single track, natural pathways, if you will, or natural surface, and then come down into our bike park, which then will connect into our green belt, which then will go into the ridge to rivers and everything. So a lot of growth in the pathway that's there. Our struggles with the pathway system right now is e-bikes and enforcing that. We have some pathways that are HOA maintained and enforced, some that are not. Obviously, we can go to Ada County Sheriff if they're a pathway that we maintain, but if you're an HOA and things like that, proper signage. So those are some struggles we're having.
Thank you. Any questions for Eric from the commission? Commissioner Helms?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, Eric, I got a question. You just briefly mentioned BLM property, and so I just had a question about, do you actually border a lot of BLM property, and are you able to secure BLM property for future development, or is it usually up to the developer?
Yeah, Commissioner, so we border a lot, like you said, of BLM property. We're in conversations with BLM now to secure, I think it's like 1,600 acres or 1,400 acres of BLM. And it's secure that to not so much park, but trail development, but also to mitigate some issues we're having in our BLM. We have, I guess, teenagers, this and that, kids that go out there and bonfire and this and that, and it causes a lot of ruckus with what we have to cover. So if we own that, we can have some more enforcement, and also shooting is a big thing too. That's why we developed a shooting range to try and mitigate those complaints of people going out in the BLM. So we are looking at acquiring some of that BLM land. Other than the 1,600 acres and some areas that we kind of work with developers that are going through the BLM, I don't know of anything else that we're really working on.
Okay, I can respect your headache with it. I used to deal with the BLM a lot, so anyway.
It's an interesting process, not to talk, there's definitely a lot of federal guidelines and stuff with that, so. There's one connection, that we challenge with, like a 200-foot connector that's there, and it's like you'll never get it because it's covered in, I don't know, the forbidden fruit of whatever, and we can't get it through environmental, and so we do struggle with that.
Thank you. Great presentation.
Commissioner Bobo?
Are your maps for your pathways online? Is there a way we can see what's connected?
Sure, yes. Matter of fact, right before here, the admin for Public Works, that we're trying to update those as much as possible, make them a little bit user-friendly. They are on our website, and then also on a lot of our trails, we're going to a QR code that you could scan so you can kind of see where you're headed. The bike park's a little bit hard to do that with because once you commit to a trail, it's hard to kind of jump over. But we're running into an issue of that. If you want to commit to a trail, you better kind of know what you're doing, like a ski run. You don't want to go down a black diamond when you expect like a blue diamond. So we're working on some signage with there. But yes, everything is online.
And secondly, where is that airbag gym at?
That is actually at the bike park. Our bike
At the
park is located up off of Old Horseshoe Bend Road. Our staff sets that up at about 3 o'clock and it runs from about 4 to 6. Make sure and sign the waiver if you're going to try.
Commissioner Roberts.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say thanks to you for the presentation. I grew up in Eagle. I may or may have not been to a party in the foothills when I was in high school. That was a long time ago. But no, it's great to kind of walk down memory lane and also just see the changes that are happening and how well you guys are keeping up with growth and the demand for parks and trails that the community needs. And it looks like you're being pretty creative and efficient with what you're doing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, or
Yes, Steve.
I'll just jump in. I just wanted to say in spite of the technology glitches that I know frustrated you, it's still an impressive a list of projects. I mean, I was aware of, even as connected as I am, wasn't familiar with all of those. I was familiar with some of those and really appreciate the update. To follow up on our chair, Gelsomino's question about pathways, this might be a good future offline meeting for staff level with you and me and Kim, but one specific pathway connection that we're kind of most interested in, and we have a dream of getting Meridian residents onto the green belt through, up Linder Road is kind of the plan, and to Eagle Island State Park. So the fact that you're maybe connecting to Eagle Island State Park and getting the connection through on your end, which I know has been a long time coming, that's exciting in and of itself. We'd love to get together and just kind of understand with future ACHD projects and things that are coming, how we might, get that specific connection through. We've been working on our end of Chinden to get things up to Chinden, knowing that, future projects from Eagle and ACHD will then take them on further north to Eagle Island State Park and in through the old entrance. But anyway, just something we're very interested in. Just wanted to bring it up just to have it on the table, as it were, up front. And we'd love to maybe talk about that connection specifically down the road whenever it makes sense.
Director Sidaway, of course, anything we can partner with, we're game. The other connection we could also look at, if you guys have anything that's close to Pamela Baker Park, that's right at Shinden and Eagle, it's pretty close. There's actually a trail that goes up the hill that'll connect you into that park, and then it gets you on the pathway to Garden City, and then also into Eagle. So, and anything we can do.
We should talk about that as well, because we have also brought connections up to Chinden on Locust Grove that I know then, they won't have a pathway per se through Banbury up to Colchester, but there is an on-street route for bicycles. And but once you get to Colchester and can cross Eagle Road, that'd be really interesting to understand better. So thank you.
Anytime.
Any other questions from the commission? Hearing none. Eric, thank you again so much.
Thank you.
Our next presentation is the ACHD Bike Pedestrian Program Update with ACHD Planning Supervisor Christy Inselman.
You got to back up. It's been a little slow. Good evening, commissioners. I'm happy to be here. My name is Christy Inselman, and I am the planning supervisor over at Ada County Highway District. I know on your agenda, it said Bike Ped Program, but really I'm giving you an overall presentation on the integrated, well, I started to say integrated, we changed the name. The 2630 5-year plan, which that plan encompasses all of our, what were community programs projects, Bike Ped, everything like that. And with our complete streets, we do include those components in all of our roadway projects.
Is that?
You're not on the title slide.
Oh.
There we go.
And you can actually control it with the left
Oh,
and right
okay. I was
arrows.
like, that's not on the right, just the up and down, right?
I think it's left and right.
Left and right. Okay. So I'm here to present. I actually presented this plan to our commission this afternoon. This is great timing because our initial draft will go live tomorrow. Right now we have the adopted 2529. This is the 2630, and it's going to look very different than last year's plan. There were a lot of shifts, a lot of changes, and we had to make some shifts and changes based on some new laws that came down. I'm sure you guys are aware of those, as well as some focus on higher priorities for our partner agencies. That's been our focus this year. So first, kind of what is the 5-year plan? What is it? What does it do? So it is the plan that we integrate all of the different programs within our capital budget. So that includes our bridge program, maintenance program. We are now calling it safety and compliance. That's what was our community programs. That's where all the bike and ped components will be. It also is our capital program, so our major road and intersection improvement projects. So it integrates everything into one place. This is how we implement these projects because it's a budgetary item as well. The first 2 years are tied directly to ACHC's budget. And then we have the out years. That's the last 3 years of the plan. It is also the best way to inform the public of all of the projects that we plan on doing throughout the entire county for the next 5 years, at least some component. Whether we're going out for a concept study to take a deeper dive on a particular corridor, whether it's design, actual engineered drawings of the project, land acquisition, or the actual construction of the project. So it shows all of that for the public. It creates that level of transparency. We're a public agency. Everything we do is public. We want to make sure we're getting the information out there in the best possible way for the public so that they understand what it is that we do and why we're doing it. And then we coordinate. We coordinate directly with all of our partner agencies. Because we are the only one of its kind, Ada County Highway District is a county-wide highway district. There is not another one in the entire country. So that does require a lot of coordination, which we're great partners and like to do that. So all of our partners that inform the plan, it's all 6 cities, the county, all 3 school districts, VRT, and Boise State University. So we partner with all of them every single year as we develop this plan, including the lovely city of Meridian. I'm here often. First time with Parks and Rec, and I love to be here. And this, I know I'm kind of getting in the weeds on what the plan does because, you know, this is what I work on, so I get a little geeky with it. So this is just kind of a flow chart of where do projects come from and how do they make it into the plan. It starts with the city and county comprehensive plan, where land use decisions are made and what those visions are. That informs the CIM, the Communities in Motion, that then informs the ACHC strategic and all of those plans that are broken out. So our asset management, our bike master plan, our ADA plan, our neighborhood plans, and our capital improvement plan. And neighborhood plans 10 years ago, 10, 11, 12 years ago, I actually think we're at year 12, we went and divided the entire county up into neighborhood planning areas. City of Meridian has 3. They have Meridian Downtown, Meridian North, and Meridian South. And we went out to those communities and asked them, it started out as a bike ped plan. It's a more comprehensive plan now for all the infrastructure. But we went out and asked them, what are we missing? Where are we missing sidewalk? Where are we missing crossings? Where's our bike facilities? So we went out and asked the community to help us build this plan. And truly it was a project identification tool. So we utilize that as well. All of that goes into development of the 5-year plan. So that's part of where we find our projects. So once we find them, how do we select them? So they come from those existing plans that I talked about. We get our requests. Those requests come directly from the public. The vast majority of them come from our partner agencies. This year, of those 12 partner agencies that we use, we received 636 project requests. As I get there, you'll see I've only got a little over 200 in the plan. So we have a vast majority of project requests that come in. We do ask our partner agencies, so the City of Meridian, we ask them to group those requests into 2 categories. The first is road and intersection, so major road widening or intersection infrastructure. The other list is our safety and compliance. So those are sidewalk gaps, bike and ped crossings, those types of projects. And then applications are community programs applications that somebody from the public can request a project. That's what that is. We put it through our prioritization methodology, which informs but doesn't, it's not a, if it is ranked the highest, it has to be. We work with our partners too, because sometimes a project that gets ranked the highest doesn't make it in the plan because it's not a priority for our city. So we work through that as well. But it helps inform which projects make it into the 5-year plan. I keep sweeping because I'm trying to not miss everybody. It's a big room. I'm used to just a few. This is just a snapshot of the schedule. So when we develop the 5-year plan, it is a year-long process. We will adopt this, hopefully, fingers crossed, at the end of October. We typically adopt at the end of September. We had a slight delay. And then immediately we start the next one. So this year we actually reached out to all of our partner agencies back in December of 2024. We had a kickoff meeting with them to talk about their lists, where they were sitting at, what their new list may look like to help them with any of that. So we've done public outreach. We received 600 comments from the public back in January, and all of those comments are shared with our partners. So everything we hear on projects, we share. It's a very collaborative process. So right now we're kind of at the tail end. So August is when we've released the initial draft. That kind of starts an open comment period for anybody to go on and make comments, and it's open for a month. And then we work towards the adoption at the end of October. And please feel free to interrupt me if you have questions. I know I'm throwing a lot at you at one time. So the outreach efforts this year, when we met with our partner agencies back in December, that kind of started their clock to give us their lists. They had until March 19th. So we gave them a long window in which to coordinate with their internal groups, with their city or city council in order to devise that list and provide that to us. So you see the list there of all of the project request or partner agencies that we work with. And then our public outreach, we had 3,000 web views on our interactive map. That was open from January 8th to the 5th. Like I said, every single one of those comments was provided to our partner agencies. And then our partner agencies total, it was 636. So now projects, what projects in Meridian are happening? So I have a mix of projects. I only showed projects that we have construction in the next 3 years. It's a 5-year plan, and there's a whole wide range of projects that are going to have some component being worked on at some point in time over the next few years. So I did bring a copy of our Meridian Downtown, our Meridian North, and Meridian South neighborhood. They're broken by neighborhood planning area, but it's all of the projects that we have in the plan for the city of Meridian. So some that are coming up in 26, so we've got Linder, Overland to Franklin. The overpass, that has been a #1 request for the city of Meridian for years. So it is coming to fruition. We love to see that. That includes road widening, overpass. There'll be pedestrian crossings at Linder and Waltman and 10-mile, Linder and 10 Mile Creek. There'll be 2 ped crossings on that corridor. We also have several bike and ped crossings that are coming up next year. Those are being done with, if you see the letters RPI. So we created 2 years ago a safety engineering group within ACHD. And their role is it stands for Rapid Project Implementation. So these are smaller, quick to design, quick to build projects. We don't need a pedestrian crossing hanging out in the 5-year plan for 12 years. These are things that, so we've dedicated funds every year to this program. I think annually that between the multiple programs that are under the RPI, there's $5 to $6 million. But on average, like a ped crossing can be $500,000 by itself. I know some of the numbers kind of shock people. Wait till I tell you how much a mile of road is. I was showing my son yesterday how much the Linder overpass cost, just our portion. That's a $38 million just ACHD portion project. So they all cost money. So yeah, so we've got Main and King, Pine and First, Eustick and I'm going to say it wrong, Grenadier, I'm going to say that wrong. Grenadier, yes. And We've got a couple, we're still working on that USTIC corridor. A lot of the USTIC projects that you see on your screen here, those were supplemented with strategic initiative funding from the state. So we really received 36 million to accelerate those USTIC projects. Total, they're going to cost about 65 million, but hey, we will take every dime we can get to get projects accelerated. So we've got USTIC and Owyhee Storm, so that's where the high school is going. So they're getting a new intersection. It's getting a new intersection there. USTIC Phyllis to Owyhee Storm. This is a joint project with the city of Nampa because USTIC in that location, actually the boundary is for both of our jurisdictions. So we work jointly with them to get that last segment done. And then USTIC 10 Mile to Linder. So that's road widening. There's going to be a ped bridge over the 5 Mile Creek. And then an intersection at the mid-mile-ish. So at USTIC and Tower Bridge. Those are 26. These are just highlights of projects. In 27, this is also a project we got strategic initiative funding for this year, like 19 million from the state, and that's going to help finish Franklin out. So the Franklin all the way to the county line will be done. And when I talk about our intersection or our road widening projects, we have what's called a complete street policy. So when we go widen a road, we don't just put lanes in. We put ped crossings, we put bike ped infrastructure, and the current direction from our commission and from City Council Meridian is on those big road widening projects. They want multi-use pathways on both sides. So on every roadway project you see on here, you're going to get multi-use pathways, a buffered multi-use pathway on both sides of that road. Another thing is if you see an intersection on here that is going to be a roundabout, our new treatment is RFBs, so rapid rectangular flashing beacons on every single leg of the intersection. So when somebody enters a roundabout and there's maybe somebody on the other leg that's crossing it, if they activate it, it turns the lights on for every leg. So that's a safety we went through and added, retroactively went back and added those to all of our roundabouts to make them safer. So 27, we got the Franklin Road corridors. We've got a crossing at Locust Grove and Palermo. That's going to, the same year that we're doing a bridge. So we paired those projects up. So we're not closing the road down multiple times over a couple years. Our residential capital maintenance, that is a program, it's a maintenance program, but a lot of those projects were adding sidewalk infrastructure to bulb outs. All of the segments are on our interactive map. I don't have them all listed here, but there's a few. We did accelerate the Stoddard Road project because that was a #1 request from the West Ada School District. And I think it was like a #2 or 3 from the city of Meridian. So that one we accelerated. So that road is going to get full reconstruction to 3 lanes, bike facilities, sidewalk, filling those gaps and some crossings. So that's going to be a bigger project. And then you'll see the USTIC and McDermott, USTIC, McDermott to Black Cat. So fingers crossed by 27, end of 27, we will be done with USTIC and we won't have all these messes going on. I know, I felt bad for Eagle because I'm like, I know that poor Eagle and State has been, it's been a thing. And then I threw 28 in there. So just a few projects that are coming up. We have Fairview and Locust Grove, intersection widening, and then the Locust Grove to Eagle. And then we were trying to fit the McMillan and Black Cat before or in around USTIC, but it didn't work. So we had to push it out to 28, but that's actually going to be a cooperative development project. So there's a development that's been approved in that area. So they are going to build it before we were going to build it, and then we reimburse them. So we do those kinds of projects all over. If you saw Lake Hazel all the way from State Highway 69 to Eagle, those multiple miles and the intersection at Locust Grove, those were all cooperative development projects. They have to build them to our standards and with the improvements that we require, but sometimes we get projects done a little bit earlier and then we can pay them back for doing them through impact fee, offset, or whatever that may be.
Christy, a quick question.
Yes.
One being close to home here in Meridian, and the other one, it might be a different question, but so Fairview and Locust Grove widening.
Yes.
So I'm in the Chateau Meadows residential area, and I can tell you that whenever I'm out and I need to go back home, that merging lane of Locust Grove right next to the Fred Meyer, it's chaos.
Yeah.
And But, walking the dogs or rollerblading or whatever, and I look down that Locust Grove corridor, I'm wondering, where does that widening happen? Because yes, there is, there's the existing sidewalk, there's a good 5 or 6 foot deep, uh, grassy area, but then on certain sections, as you get kind of closer southbound of that corridor on Locust Grove, where we get closer to the Walgreens, there are some residents who have their home facing the street. So where does that space for widening come from?
Thank you, Commissioner. For that project is, we have several projects in Meridian and around where it is not a clear-cut project. That's where the concept level comes in. We have already kicked off the concept for Locust Grove, Fairview to Eustic, that segment. So our long-range plans, it's identified to be a 5-lane road in the future, right? But we also recognize that the mature landscaping, those buffers, some of those homes would be impacted. So it's not a cut and paste type of project. So we are doing a concept, which means we're going out to the public, we're working with stakeholders, we're doing some door-to-door outreach. We're just starting that project. So you'll see this fall, there'll be the initial public outreach. When we don't go do a concept, first thing we do is what is there? What's the existing? Then we do a public outreach and we say, what are your needs on this corridor? What can we do? Is there a treatment? Is there a reduction? Not a reduction in road. Is it 3 lanes? Do we go to a 4? Is it 5 and we're buying some properties? It's similar to the process that we did, but not as impactful to the concept that we did for Linder Pine to Eustic. That project, we're taking 40 homes, because the ultimate configuration that was decided upon and that was your commission wanted was the 5-lane. So we're buying 40 homes to do that project. So this one is going to be similar, where we've got to look at what are the impacts and is there something we can do to mitigate those impacts? So yeah, we're starting that. So
Right.
please look for it. We should have the outreach here in a couple months for that initial question. And then we will develop alternatives. So here's a standard 5, here's a 4, 3. Are we just gonna, it's called a constrained corridor. Do we just accept that we want to keep this at 3? Right? It's a busy corridor. It has high volume. So
Right.
that's the conundrum that we end up going a concept with, so.
The other question, and it's a little bit of a very brief 2-parter, same topic, is the first part is, being that, I know that the certain section I'm referring to is, I believe it falls just inside or outside Ada County, or it may fall within Canyon County, but you mentioned, where was it? Black Cat and McDermott.
Yeah.
So I have family that lives right behind the Nampa Gateway Theater off of Garrity, where that Winco is. So if you're going down Franklin westbound and you get to Robinson, right at the intersection with the Amazon, and you go up that hill and turn right onto Stam, on the way back out, if you want to take that, there is no streetlight, there's just one stop sign, and then on the right-hand side, it's just high hill, you can't see it. Is that within ACHD, or no, that's can't?
Commissioner, it's not.
Okay.
We stop at McDermott.
McDermott.
And technically that intersection at McDermott and Franklin, half of it is Canyon County. So the west side is theirs, the east side is ours. So we kind of split that one. I've driven that. I know what you're talking about. I have family in Nampa, so yeah, I know. They have the same that we have, where you can submit a request
Okay.
and have them look at it. Or, as a Parks Commissioner, you just call up and maybe have a conversation. But yeah, unfortunately, that's not ours.
And on that similar note, going back to the Locust Grove, I'm not keenly familiar on traffic light distance regulations laws, but if you are going north on north on Locust Grove, you've got the stoplight at Locust Grove and Chateau. Then there is one other intersection, four-way intersection, which is Meadowgrass before you get to U-Stick. That stop sign is, that intersection doesn't have a stoplight. It's four-way stop, or excuse me, two-way stop sign, and it can get kind of hectic unless residents want to bob and weave between the Chateau residential area and get out onto Chateau. Is the stop sign kind of just the end answer, or is the distance between those two intersections distant enough to where another traffic light could come up, or something that's a little bit more noticeable and equitable for all four sides for the intersection?
Commissioner, what I would say is it's not as black and white on distance. A lot of it comes to the volumes. It has to meet what's called warrants. There has to be a certain number of vehicles that are trying to make turning movements at an intersection for it to justify a signal. There are distances for sure that come into play with how often we can do those mid-mile signals. We try to limit the number. The kind of the sweet spot on a mile of road, I should say, on a mile of arterial road. The sweet spot is right at mid-mile, because then you're not disrupting, because the arterial is meant to carry the heaviest flow of traffic. It's meant to get people around. And if you start disrupting that mile with multiple signals, it can disrupt the functionality of that roadway. Not to say we don't have them, we certainly do, and if they meet the warrants, but that'll be part of the analysis. Part of this, the concept study will include traffic analysis of intersections. Our standard treatment, not that this is a standard treatment necessarily for this because we haven't gotten into it, but our standard treatment, there's a difficulty in over the years. We have policies that have come out to limit those connections of local streets to an arterial. We want people to go to that mid-mile collector system to get them to a signal. And that's why it should be, the mile should have this lovely little grid in the middle. It hasn't developed out that way. And we always want those internal roads to connect to each other so that people can find an alternate route instead of trying to directly, because it's not safe. To try to, you got a 5-lane roadway. It is not safe to try to make a turn across multiple lanes of traffic with higher volumes and higher speeds. So what I will say is that will be part of the discussion. Do we limit? Some of it may be limitation and access management to kind of force people to go to the safer location, which would be the signal, or does it meet warrants for have a second signal on that corridor?
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, Commissioner Bobo.
So if I'm piecing together what you said and on the screen,
Yes.
U-Stick is going to be tore up between 10 Mile until McDermott until the end of 2027. But at the end of it all, there's going to be bike pathways on both sides. That'll be beautiful.
Yes. There'll be multi-use pathways on both sides of the road, the entire lane.
So we'll be miserable for a couple of years, but then we'll be
Yes.
lovely.
I'm sorry.
Okay, just making
We did kind of leapfrog a little bit, the segments that we were doing, but what we did was made sure that we were getting all the intersections. It's a lot easier to close the mile in between if we have the intersection infrastructure in to divert people. It helps a lot. So when we go back and do that 10 Mile to Linder, the intersections on at the mile markers, those will be done. So that's going to help a lot. But yeah, we got a couple more years.
And this isn't on your screen, but do you happen to know, and it's okay if you don't, when that piece between 10 Mile and Black Cat will be done on U-Stick?
10 Mile.
It's all tore up right now.
Oh my gosh. So our fiscal years run October 1 through September 30th. It is currently under, I think a few of our projects, bigger projects, are going to run into our next fiscal year a little bit. The plan should be that's done before the end of the year. If it's under construction now, they should be done before the end of the year. Yeah, I got one in my area driving me nuts. It's Eagle, Lake Hazel, Amity, the huge
yes.
retaining walls.
You
and
know the
stuff.
pain.
Huh?
So you know the
I
pain.
do know the pain. And then the other 2 miles were under construction the 2 prior years or 3 prior years. And my son goes to Mountain View, so he's not happy with me. I told him he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Great.
Commissioner Roberts.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being here with us. That I have some timing questions as well for my neighborhood. So are you involved in the Eagle Road project that goes between Lake Hazel and Amity? Is that an ACHD project?
That is an ACH.
And it's under construction right now and it's
It
supposed to be
is.
done by the end of the year, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good.
Yes, it is. The intersection is already open to east-west travel.
Yeah,
It's not open to north because they've not finished the
Right.
road segment all the way up to Amity.
right.
Because the retaining walls were such a big lift. I think that took them a little longer than they were anticipating. But yes, that is also on track to be done before the end of the year.
And is that still planned to be a roundabout at Lake Hazel or was that not ever in the plan? I thought I heard that
No,
early
we
on.
have some of the intersections along Lake Hazel are planned, like we did the one at Maple Grove.
Yeah.
Lake Hazel is a roundabout and that will be a multi-lane. But I do not believe, I can
Eagle.
double check my notes, but I don't believe because of, I think, the function of that. Like
Yeah.
the Locust Grove is a roundabout, but like obviously the state seat is going to be a signal.
Well, Amity is a roundabout, so I was just hoping.
Right.
They work really well.
I am a fan, but I do not believe that this one will be a roundabout. I
Okay,
believe this will be a standard.
a
signal.
standard signal.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you mentioned Linder Pine to Ustick. And I don't see that on here and I was flipping through here really quick. But what's the timing on that one? Did I get that right?
You
Pine to
did, you
Ustick?
did.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Madam Commissioner. So we, that project, we finished that concept study.
Okay.
And as I mentioned, we have 40 homes that we're
Yeah.
needing to acquire. That is not a, I think it might be in the top 10 for the city, but it is not at the very top for the city. I'm sure as Linder, the overpass gets done, as some of these other projects, I'm certainly rise up. But that is we're kind of on a slow right-of-way roll with that
Take a
one.
while, yeah.
So we have with this plan, if the budget is adopted as it sits and if the plan is adopted in October. So the draft plan shows early acquisition funding every single year to acquire those homes. So in the beginning, we would be taking willing buyers that are ready to leave. And we've got a couple million each year. We'll be able to purchase a few at a time, but that slightly over a mile is right now sitting at about $40 million.
Yeah.
Just because of the right-of-way acquisition, it's pushing it very high.
Yeah.
So we're slow rolling that. So the reason it's not here is because we don't have a construction year yet.
Sure. Okay.
Not even in the 5.
Okay.
We don't have a construction year.
And then just one more then, I'm not sure I'm aware of, when is the overpass supposed to be completed for Linder?
So it is in for 26
Okay.
construction.
Okay.
That probably will roll into 27 because that is a huge project. And it's also anytime we pass over the interstate, it is a joint project with Idaho Transportation Department. So they are responsible for anything within the air of their of their road. So they will be responsible for the bridge. We are responsible for everything that comes up to it. So we also have the 5-mile overland. So that is also being widened. So we have multiple that are crossing that they're going to build their bridge and we'll run the project, but they'll pay for their bridge.
Thank you.
Yeah, but that also will have multi-use pathways on both sides over the bridge. So it'll be nice. Man, I've had friends of mine ask for that for like 15 years, like, Christy, can't you do something? And I was like, I wish I could, but I don't decide all the money, just some of it.
Commissioner Helms.
Thank you. Anyway, just one quick question on, for 2028, you talked about the interchange at McMillan and Black Cat. Is that a roundabout plan? Okay.
That will be a roundabout.
Thank you.
Yep. And then just getting to some of the other nuts and bolts of the 5-year plan. So this is an example of all the different programs that we have, capital maintenance, CIP, our safety and compliance, which is your bike ped, traffic ops, bridges. So currently we have Technically, I didn't fix this because we just had commission. There were 2 that got moved back in. So I have 266 projects in the plan, not 264. And it's about $1.2 billion that is programmed over the next 5 years. Yeah, I know that hurts a little bit. I had to say the B word last year and I was like, oh, it's going to continue. Just to kind of circle back around, we're going to be releasing that draft tomorrow. It'll start the second outreach, and all of you, I would invite you all to take a look at that interactive map, provide feedback on projects, because we do go back to our commission with what we heard from everybody in the public. We'll do a public outreach with that map. If you guys are also not subscribers to our Engage page, it's a really great place to get updates on projects from ACHD. We currently have over 20,000 people that have subscribed to our Engage page. So when we release this draft tomorrow, 20,000 people are going to get an email in their inbox saying, hey, come view this map and give us feedback. So it's a nice little tool that we've started using. So this is just a screenshot. I was going to try to pull up the map, but I don't know. That's going to be a possibility today. But this is just a screenshot of what our interactive map looks like. So all of our projects obviously are represented by lines and dots on the map, and they're color coded by their construction year. So when we say it's an interactive map, it's fully interactive. You can zoom in, zoom out. When you click on a line or a dot, it tells you what that project is, the name, the description, the years, who the project manager is, how much that project costs. And then that's also where you can click and leave feedback on each individual project. I also like to highlight, this is something that we really rushed to try to put into the plan last year, and we're still cleaning it up and finalizing, but it's a really nice tool to use for the public and for our partners. So the first 6 tabs, the very first one's all the projects that are going to be worked on some fashion in the next 5 years. And then you can look at the construction by year if you want. You just want to see on 26, you can click on 26 and just see 26. But that last tab that says beyond 2030, I have a little pop out window there, and you see all of that mess and all that gray. Those are all of the projects that have been identified to date that need to be done around the county. So those are through CIP, public, partners, neighborhood plans, bike master plan, all of that. That's what that is. And I did count them today. And we're over 1,100 projects that are in that plan. So these are projects that aren't funded yet, but they have been identified. But what helps us with the communication with the public, they're like, hey, how come this sidewalk isn't happening? Or like, we know about it, it's there. We've got it in the record. We're just waiting for funding and for it to be a priority for the public and our partners to try to move that up. So we wanted a place for the public to not feel they weren't being heard. So, and there's more. We get more weekly from people that are saying, hey, what about the sidewalk on my project or on my street? And we're like, we didn't know that you wanted sidewalk or that we had a gap there. And as soon as we get that request, we add that project in and it'll show up on the map. So they'll see that it's in there and what we're calling out for the improvements. So I like that. We just added that last year. So then just recap for us at ACHD outreach, our budget adoption hearing is in 2 weeks. So that'll be the budget for the 26-27 year. And it's our operations and capital budget. The 5 years is just a capital budget. And then everything I hear from our partner agencies and from the public, I go back to our commission on the 8th and say, here's what we heard. Here's what people are saying. Here's any recommended changes based on what we heard. So the cities typically, Meridian is really good about it. Meridian will write us a letter and say, we hate the plan. No, I'm just kidding. Say, we love the plan, but could you make these changes? And they'll send us a letter and we look at those projects and say, maybe we can change that or accelerate that, or maybe your priorities have shifted and they push something back a little bit. So Meridian's really great about giving it, but we go over all of that with our commission. And then we have the adoption in October. Those are always night meetings and they're always public for any comments. And that's it. That's all I got for you. Got any more questions? I will do my best.
Any additional questions? Yes, Commissioner Roberts.
Yes.
That was oh yeah, I do.
Well, one other quick question. I just was wondering how ACHD interfaces, collaborates with Compass. I didn't necessarily see that they were on your list of partners, but I assume you guys coordinate
Yeah,
closely.
so we
Yeah.
have multiple partners that we work with. When we say partners, it's for lists of projects. We don't ask Compass for a list of projects, but we work with them quite closely because they're also the kind of the purveyors of the money through RTAC and all of that. So we work closely with Compass. We actually have scheduled meetings with Compass, ITD, VRT, CCDC. So we will meet with MDC. So we meet with those organizations at a minimum twice a year to coordinate projects. So if Meridian MDC is having a project and we maybe have something nearby, same thing with like CCDC, we do the same thing. They go over their 5-year plan, we bring ours. All right, what can we maybe move something up so we can collaborate and get these done together? Because they bring a funding source, we bring a funding source. So we don't list them as partners. We don't ask CCDC for a list. We don't ask MDC for a list because we get it from the cities. So, because not every city has a development group, and it wouldn't be quite fair if you guys double dipped. No, I'm just kidding. They've asked, and I'm like, no. CUNA doesn't have one of those, so we're not gonna do that. At least not yet.
Commissioner Dennington.
Yes. Yes, thank you for your presentation. It was great. Kind of 3 things. I work with Christine Tandler there a lot. She gives me.
Thought I recognized you.
That's right. I will be at the budget hearing. So on the 27th. So she's great to work with, and all you guys
amazing.
actually answer all my questions and anything that comes up. Couple of things. One of the ones was I had read or seen something about the Linda Road between State.
Oh,
and-
yes.
And I just wanted to see where that is because I know they're chip sealing and doing all kinds of stuff right now, but when is that on the?
So part of the funding we got, the strategic funding that we just got, the 19 million, part of those funds, we are using to accelerate the design of that project. It's a big project. We have old numbers and they were still at 60 million. We know it's going to be more than that. So we are actually going to start in 26. I didn't put it on the list because it's not, we don't have a construction year, but we are working on it. So in 2020, I should have put some of the design projects on for you guys. I apologize. So the entire segment, we're going to not a full design, but we call it a 30% design of the entire corridor in fiscal year 26. And once we have that 30% design, which really sets what all the improvements are and what all the needs are, what bridges need to be replaced, all the infrastructure, then we'll break it apart and phase it. So we actually have just because of the time, for some reason, at some point, somebody was like, do the middle one first, I think, because it was the bridges. And so we do have that in a construction year, but it's like in 2030. So we're trying to accelerate that as much as possible to hopefully get that done as quickly as we can. We got to figure out what the phasing is going to be, and that's what 26 is going to tell us. And then we'll go into full design on each of the segments and then right of way. So we have design, right of way, and construction for one of the phases in the plan. And then we have design and right of way for the other 2 in the plan. So it's moving. Yeah.
Follow up on that. So on that project, because I go to church in Eagle, as that's the way I access. Otherwise I have to, anyway, it's going to be a lot more difficult to get there. So I was is it still going to be accessible or is it going to be closed once you start the project?
So there will be points of time where we will have to close it for the bridge replacement. There are sometimes, well, I shouldn't say that. So we sometimes can utilize, it just depends. Part of what next year is going to be is figuring out, like Eckerd Road it's a similar situation. Can we leave the existing bridge and build the new one so there's still access and then tear the old one down? So that will be one of the conversation points as to whether can we leave the bridge existing to continue to have traffic while the new, because they sometimes will build like half a bridge and then tear the old one and let you drive on the new one and then build the other half. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. We're still so early in, I have not heard whether the plan is to have some full closures or not. And if we try to be very time sensitive of like overnights. If we're gonna close it, not peak hour, AM and PM peak hour, but yeah, I would keep watching that one. Because we'll have public outreach for that one as well. Even for design phases, we go out to the public.
It's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any additional questions? Steve?
Chairman, I have a follow-on and similar to what I asked Eric, but since we're trying to get these pathways connected up Linder to Eagle Island State Park, is the section that you're talking about going to extend multi-use pathways along Linder?
Yes, sir. Our complete streets policy, every arterial, multi-use pathways, both sides.
That is great news. So sign me up as a yes.
That was a policy that we enacted, I think it was in 2009. So now any arterial, we're going to have infrastructure for bikes and peds every time we do it. We used to go out and do some like interim widening and add something like that. We won't do that anymore.
I had heard that. I just hadn't heard that Linder was in the next few years, or I guess I understand
At
that
least parts of
construction,
it,
yeah,
yeah.
parts of it are beyond the 5-year work program, but it's coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of discussion with Meridian City Council and staff.
Mhm.
And Meridian City Council, I think I've even got a letter that they've been very clear that every arterial that we do, they want multi-use.
Yes.
That's their preferred treatment.
Love it.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any follow-up questions or additional questions? Hearing none. Chrissy, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Our next update is Parks and Recreation Department Special Events Update with our very own Recreation Coordinator, Renee White.
Thought you all might need a second to get up and stretch, maybe. Yes, we all do, don't we? Yeah, that was a lot of information. I'm impressed you guys dig so deep. Drink of water. I see you have some candy. Yeah, good deal. Okay. 1000%. We have drawers in our office that we raid. Okay, so it's been a minute since I have been in front of this commission, so I thought I'd just take a second and introduce myself and our new events team. So my name is Renee White, and I have been with the city since 2016. So I am in my 10th year, my 10th season. I came to the city with more than 20 years of event experience. And this year we were very lucky to welcome a new event assistant. Her name is Jenna, and I am thrilled to have her. She came with over 9 years of event experience. And so combined, we have 40 years worth of event experience. So she's been a marvelous addition that has allowed us to do more things at our events, as well as think further ahead. So it's been an amazing addition. So Parks and Rec, annually we produce 9 different events, and that's pretty historical that we've done those since I got here, at least 9, the number 9. This currently is over 26 days, with the bulk of those happening in the summertime, obviously, because all of our parks are outdoors. So those include movie night, Kleiner Park Live, Gene Kleiner Day, Unplug and Be Outside, the Independence Day Festival, the Community Art Party, Trunk or Treat, the parade and tree lighting, and the Children's Winterland Festival. And we'll talk in depth about a little bit of those. So, but I do want to just mention that Parks and Rec has done an amazing job of responding to the community over the years, and that we have been able to bring some new things and retire some old. So the first one was the Barn Sour. For those of you who were around 10 years ago, you may remember it was a race. A Barn Sour refers to a horse that wants to run all the way back to the barn. That's where the term barn sour comes from. And then there was, at one time, there was an old barn on the corner of Main and Ustick in Settlers Park. So the barn sour race was going strong, and then I came and it just started petering out. It just, we didn't have the participation from either the businesses or the community. We found that there were community organizations were offering a lot of other activities, a lot of other types of races. And so this commission and Parks and Rec responded by retiring that event. Some of the new things that we've done, one-time event was a grand opening for Hillsdale Park. Also, we did a Kleiner Park 10-year anniversary celebration. That was a lot of fun. Set the stage for our Kleiner Park Live events that we'll talk about that are growing strong and really thriving. We've done a Care Enough to Share food truck rally. We've also tried a teen activities night. Teen activities night we did not go well, so we did not continue to. The planning was superb. Let's be clear. The execution was marvelous. The attendance was what needed a little bit of zhuzhing. During COVID, we really did a lot of reimagining how we serve the community. We did a door decorating contest. We did our Christmas tree lighting remote. So the mayor was the only one there, along with, I think, Shelly was there and nobody else. It was but we flipped the switch and the light came on. We also reimagined some of our Christmas things with a Zoom with Santa. Now, the Zoom with Santa was wildly successful that year. The kids and the parents had an amazing time because Santa got the ability to have a few more questions answered about the kids. And so Santa knew a lot more than he normally does in the short visits that are provided with him. So that was wonderful during COVID. We did it again a second year in 2021, but we found that the kids actually had the opportunity to visit with Santa live, and so the online just didn't have the appeal any longer. Winterland in the Bag was another reimagined event during COVID. We took all of the crafts that we had done during the Winterland festivities. We created little packets and we did a drive-through in which we handed out the bags, and parents were delighted and thrilled to have something going on during that season. And the last one I wanted to talk about that we've reimagined is the Community Block Party. That event began as an opportunity for our class teachers to reach out to the community to be able to show what they had to offer in our activity guide. And what we discovered was our class teachers weren't coming as often, and we were getting a lot more realtors and home improvement and businesses that weren't even really recreation adjacent. And so we were able to pivot, and that event is now the Community Art Party. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And that's going strong. It's really exciting. Make sure I didn't skip one. So some of our current successes, super excited to talk about the safety and of movie night. As you all know, we've had issues with teenagers really since I started, and after COVID, they went from out of control to dangerous. We were able to partner with the police department, and we made quite a few changes, including an 18 and over or 18 and younger required a parent or guardian. The fencing that we had always put up is now it's a harder perimeter. We used to do flags that kids jumped over and jumped under and yeah. So it is a much harder perimeter. Plus we put wristbands on all youth that are under 18. And we've kept it a very solid rules, very solid policies. And with that, we have found the parents with the the parents with the littles have flooded back into the event. And it is, the attendance has gone up for families and the attendance of teens has totally diminished. We get a few that try to come in with parents, have their parents sign in, and we don't allow them to come in. So unless their parent is staying through the duration of the event. So it's a family event and we have been able to keep it that way. So it's fantastic. Kleiner Park Live is another one. We are only in our third year of having it. I know it happened quite a while ago before we installed the shade cloths and had the trees in the amphitheater, and it was just too hot, and so it wasn't successful. I am thrilled to tell you that our attendance just continues to increase. So I estimated it at about 1,200. It's difficult to actually guess. I think that's a conservative amount. I will tell you that the Kleiner Park parking lot is full. We are also reaching a brand new demographic with this particular event, where the movies really focused on littles, with the G-rated. The Kleiner Park Live is reaching an audience that is just an older demographic. Not that kids don't come, but it's reaching a more of an adult population. And so what we've been able to do is offer 6 movies and 6 Kleiner Park Live events. We're reaching more people, and I don't believe it has impacted the movie night attendance at all. As a matter of fact, I think it has increased it somewhat from the perspective of you've only got 6 to attend, make a point to go, rather than you've got 12 and it's kind of spread out over the summer. So I'm super thrilled with that. We also have a new title sponsor, somebody who has stepped up in the community who has said that they want to support that. So that's fantastic. The Community Art Party Partnership. So we are partnering with the Meridian Arts Commission to create that. So it's a really lovely partnership in that I have a lot of event logistical information and skill, and my coworker Cassandra Schiffler, she has the connections with the art community. So she leverages her cachet to bring the people in. We have our first year in Kleiner Park, we had a mural painting. We've had hands-on activities for kids, painting rocks, painting little easels. We've had poetry reading. We had a literary center. We had tap dancing and all kinds of performances in the band shell. So this year we are going strong for a second year in that space, and I really expect to see it just continue to light fire. It is a highly participatory type event, so we really are reaching out to the arts organizations and inviting them to come and encouraging them to use it as an opportunity to sign people up for classes, get on mailing list, and just learn more about all of the types of art that are in the community. So that's a lot of fun. Trick or treat, or excuse me, trunk or treat continues to be strong. I think there's about 4,000 kids that come to that. We base that on the number of candy treats that we hand out. It is one of those events that is just a blast because we open it up to local businesses and we do hardly any marketing, and the two of them find each other. We book all of the spaces every year for businesses, and it's just a blast for the kids. If you've never gone, it's a lot of fun. The atmosphere is pretty exciting. It's a lot of fun. So it continues to stay strong. The other change that we made was the Children's Winterland Festival. We moved that into home court last year, which allowed us to have a little more breathing space, do a little more decoration ahead of time. In the past, we'd had that in a gym at the Boys and Girls Club. So those are some of the current successes that we are experiencing. And I want to just, I always add this because Mike Barton always says on time and on budget. Well, every project that we do is always on time. We always start on time and we're always within budget. So our events total, so last fiscal year was, the event budget was $81,000 and some change. Our total revenue was $37,000, some change. And based on the attendance, we're looking at about 89,000 people attending. So some of those people may be attending multiple events, of course, multiple movies, multiple Kleiner Park live events, but it is, that is our estimate. We have talked about some software that we could get dialed in and really understand exactly how many people attend. Unfortunately, it's really expensive. So, so this is a list of our partners, our current sponsors that we work with. So I do work with all of these sponsors. They help support our events, all or in part. So each of these have their own event marketing packages, so they are just a whole nother layer of managing the events. So it's good to have them included and to be a part of what we do. So I was hoping to take just a little bit of time and pick your brains about unplug and be outside. As I had talked earlier, we like to pivot when events aren't thriving or they aren't hitting they just aren't being well attended or so I don't know if any of you are familiar with Unplug and Be Outside. It is a week worth of events and activities in arts and, or excuse me, in sports and recreation. It used to include arts until we started the community art party. So it involves a kickoff event. It involves a variety of classes and activities that people can go to. So you can see the first picture is a knot tying from Idaho Parks and Recreation at the kickoff event. The second is a tennis lesson. Then you've got flag football and you've got a photo walk. This particular event has drawn lately about 300 people, which considering the amount of time and energy we put into it, looking at it, it just doesn't feel like it is being well received by the community. And so I'm really feeling like it's time to either reinvent what this event looks like and or do something completely different. I realize I'm just kind of popping this on you, but I would love to just pause for a few minutes and have your feedback on things that you think the community might need.
Renee?
And commissioners, let me just say that Chair Gelsomino had to step out for a few minutes, so I'm just going to help facilitate. And would you like to go first, Commissioner
I
Dennington?
would.
All right, go
Thank
for
you.
it. Yeah.
So I didn't see him there and I didn't
I
realize
know.
you were taking
That-
over.
No, that's fine.
So the month that this unplug is done is
It's currently in
May. That's what I thought.
Yes.
So that may be an issue for getting people to plug in because they're still in school, they're still, anyway.
Absolutely true.
Like that's my input initially
the
is
date,
that,
yeah.
that it needs to probably go up time when the kids are available to do that. And they're probably plugging in more once they're out of school. So they probably need to start unplugging. So anyway.
And is your suggestion to go which way with the date?
Well, it seems that they're not, if we were trying to engage like a state of school district to buy into this as well, kind of, for the kids. And they've already got their cell phone thing that they put through. I know the state did as well, but West Ada was first to put that cell phone issue to bed so the kids couldn't have their phones in class. So I know that they have that thinking, the trustees and all that. So trying to figure out, do we do it in June then, or or is that too soon because they got out of school and parents are going to take them traveling? So maybe your input on thinking about it just needs to be, I think, not during the school year.
Yeah, a date change for sure.
Yeah.
Other thoughts?
Commissioner Bobo?
Yeah, I'm trying to think through. Honestly, I went for a number of years in a row, and I haven't been the last couple of years. So, but I can't think of why. Partly it's schedule. I think when I see it come on, I'm usually got something going. But it also was kind of like the same thing each year, and I don't have a kid. Like I don't have a younger kid, so that part of it I wasn't there. But there used to be a lot of adult things to do, but not so much anymore. Or at least the ones I was interested in, I'd already done it a number of years in a row, so I didn't want to. I was like, I'll skip it this year.
So not enough new, exciting reasons to attend.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if that's 100% the whole thing. I don't know.
It's good feedback. Yeah, appreciate it.
Commissioner Dennington and then Commissioner Helms after that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So maybe it might be kind of fun to hail back to kind of how technology has grown, like the history of, like radio, TV, and everything that's gotten to this point. So maybe kind of a teaching way, kind of but just to get kids to understand where things came from and why now their life is all wrapped up in this instead of, other, like it used to be sit by the radio in the old days, watch TV, then we, listen to radio, records and radio. So it just maybe, is that a possibility? What are you guys thinking about that?
Share some history of how things have gotten to where they are. Context is always important. Sure.
We used to have a community block party. What happened to that?
Yeah, that transition to the community art party, that's the one that I was saying ended up being mostly realtors and leaf vendors. And so the businesses that participated were not even parks adjacent, not even
There
recreation
wasn't so
adjacent.
much of these, like the community teachers, the community activity people coming in. Not so much.
Yeah, the block party, it was not that.
I also
So,
looked into that.
and because of that, attendance started to wane on that one as well. So it felt more like a Chamber of Commerce event than it did a Parks and Recreation event.
I know Commissioner Helms has a comment, and then I was just going to see if maybe Commissioner Hood might have something after that, just from a youth perspective. So think about that, Ellie, for a second, but go ahead.
Thank you. I was curious, maybe you mentioned there's an age group you're targeting here?
For Unplug and Be Outside there, it's all ages.
Okay.
Yeah, which may be part of the problem. Maybe we need to get
That's
more
what I was saying.
specific.
In that way,
Mhm.
maybe.
Yeah, we had things from the photo walk, bird watching, walking clubs, all the way down to, soccer for tots.
So I see a lot of activity at almost all the parks. Every time I go, I'm different age groups and so forth, but that's different programs from sporting events to, walking dogs to just getting some exercise. But anyway, that was just a thought. I was kind of curious if you could target a
Yeah,
particular.
good question.
So anyway.
And I was just going to mention too, before we go to Commissioner Hood, that I think the idea of connecting people with nature and outside is really important.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't want to abandon the event entirely. And I do wonder if a change, I just know the weather in May can sometimes be so iffy.
Weather is always a challenge. You're
And,
absolutely right. Yep.
I wonder if the change in the timing, and then maybe, each year focusing kind of under still the theme of unplug and be outside, but focusing on something unique and interesting, that might draw people to that particular thing. I don't know what it would be, meet Sasquatch. I don't know. It could be all kinds of things, but something that's just going to get people's attention. So it's not the same old thing year after year.
Yeah, we have talked about perhaps focusing very narrowly on bicycles
Yeah.
and less on the unplug with the idea that we're, just slipping in the be outside. We've also
Yeah.
talked about some, bigger festival style things, music, with the idea, again, we're bringing you outside without your actual, we're not preaching, you need to unplug. So
Yeah.
lots of
sorry,
ideas
that
being
might be-
tossed around, so I appreciate your guys's.
Okay, Commissioner Hood, what do you think?
Right. Yeah, I agree with kind of like ditching the unplug thing because no offense, but it kind of makes me want to roll my eyes. Like it's always the phones, like these kids in their phones. Like it just like it's almost kind of like if you're trying to get kids to come, it always feels kind of condescending to be like, you never go outside, touch grass, like,
Yeah.
which like I definitely need to be outside more, but like the branding of this event just doesn't really make me want to go. So yeah, I think like a bike tour would be fun. Kind of like we normally do for the commission, like guided bike tours around the city, stuff like that, that encourages people outside of the event to continue being outside. Sounds more interesting.
Yeah,
Great.
bike tour. Add that to the list.
I would
That sounds like fun. Something that, yeah, I would do.
Yeah.
do
Yes.
that.
Yes,
Amy.
another comment,
Okay.
yeah,
Yes,
please.
yes. So maybe you could show the movie The Matrix, because that, talk about unplugging. I mean, when you get plugged into that, you're in not good shape. I mean, if, then that's what it can lead to, is being literally plugged in, so.
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
Yes, yes.
I'll just add a few comments from my perspective,
Yeah.
just to add to the conversation. We've been thinking about how to reimagine it, and without getting into too much granular detail, what you're sharing is very helpful. I will say, let me just focus on the date aspect first. So May has been a challenge. There's lots of activities. There's schools getting out. There's graduations. There's lots of sports things going on the same Saturday. So one idea is to go earlier in the year, because in March, there's a lot of interest in getting outside. Everyone has cabin fever from winter. The problem is the weather is so unpredictable. It's hard to plan an event in March or April, even more so than May, which is why it got pushed from April to May. Moving late into June and July, I mean, that now we're putting it on top of what a very small team already does for movie night, Kleiner Park Live. There's also Gene Kleiner Day in early June. So that's some of the struggle that we're having, but we do have some resources that we're thinking might make that possible. But we're looking at, do we go earlier? That would help give some separation from things we already do, but the weather's a problem, a challenge. It's so unpredictable. So that's some of what we're dealing with on the timing side. With the theme, I agree. I even brought up this morning in a meeting that the unplug theming might be getting in the way, and maybe it's just a Be Outside festival. And you could just do all things outdoors, or you could do some focused thing like a bike festival of some kind. And we're still exploring all that. So enough from me. Just know that we're saying a lot of the same things internally and trying to figure out, what does the community need? And since you guys are our representatives of the community, we wanted to come tonight and pick your brains, which is exactly what's happening. Get your feedback on, okay, our current format is not drawing the crowds the way other things we do are drawing crowds. So what does the community need or want from your perspectives to be more successful? Yeah.
Chair.
Yes.
Just a note about the timing. Earth Day is April 22nd every year, which seems like it's late enough in April that the weather might be a little better, but it's also not at the end of the school year. And I know the time between spring break and when you get out of school can be like the worst part of the year for people. So if it was moved to like the last week of April and it was more like a nature week or something tied in with Earth Day, I think that could make some sense.
I like that.
To that point, Renee, and I apologize, I had to excuse myself there for a minute. Would it, I guess not defeat the purpose, but would it by any means help if we were to partner with a local organization, like let's say the MK Nature Center, or kind of to Ellie's point, a similarly, an organization, public, private, that has that same vision that might double up on our marketing efforts to market an event like this, and maybe a coordination to where, you know, we come up with something where multiple entities are involved that can kind of garner that larger.
You hit the nail on the head with what I've been trying to do for the last couple of years. We have involved the Parks and Rec, the state level. We've done Idaho Fish and Game. We have reached out to Shields and REI. So we have been trying to partner with them. I know that, you know, the fishing is actually quite popular. Parks and Rec, you know, were going to come with a lot of energy, and then it just kind of fizzled out. So, you know, yeah, those are exactly the types of things that I've been trying to do. And, you know, sometimes I throw things at the wall, and if it doesn't stick, I, you know,
Move on to the.
try to cook it up again and throw it again, and it's like, okay, this is still not working. So, but I completely agree.
Now, this just goes to show of, you know, again, the days kind of meld together, the year just flies by, but does the community block party still happen? I mean, kind of.
That is a great
Oh,
question.
okay, I was gonna say.
We've already, yeah, we've gotten that question. So the community block party started as an opportunity for the teachers that are doing classes in our activity guide to connect with the community. And over the years, they stopped attending because their classes, I think, they're full and they're doing well. So they didn't need that level of marketing. And the people, the businesses that were coming were the, you know, the leaf gutter folks, the, you know, really more of your business community, not your recreation adjacent or parks adjacent. So as it started to change the demographics of who was interested in being there and creating that event with us, we decided to stop creating that. Because it was really more of a Chamber of Commerce type event and less a Parks and Recreation event. And so we took that event and we pivoted to the community art party. And so that is where the community art party, where that started and how it's proceeding.
And my last question would be, have you seen, and you know, it's always worth, I would imagine it would always be worth looking at cities even outside of Idaho, not just outside of our city, but have you seen or identified events similar to this one in cities within Idaho or outside of Idaho, and what they may, I mean, if it's a big metropolitan area like LA or something like that, that's easier, but.
Yeah, no, those are great questions. We are always looking at what other organizations are doing. We always, through the conference that we attend annually, Idaho Parks and Recreation Association, as well as when I get the opportunity to attend the International Festivals and Events Association, as well as just Googling and seeing the, you know, the social media things that we belong to. We're always looking at what other cities are doing. And the current idea for an Outside Idaho, I know Steve found an event that is happening in Denver that is quite large, that focuses on music and food as kind of those key elements, with the outside being the, I think, you know, some of the booths and some of the people that are attending. So it's certainly a multi-layer type of event. I think not having an indoor space can be a challenge in Idaho. I think also just, you know, the park, Kleiner Park, making sure that we don't outgrow that space. So we have to, there's a fine balance between how big of an act we can bring versus, you know, but yeah, to answer your question, we are always open to those ideas, which is one of the reasons I'm coming before the commission to pick your guys' brain.
And
Commissioner Roberts.
yes, thanks, Chair. So one thought I have, because we have great ideas and we're connected to the community, but I think maybe getting some broader input could be helpful. But I would really suggest that we frame that and in a way where we're also kind of promoting the event. So once the city decides what this new event's going to be called, maybe you could put like an online poll that says, a new event is planned, get outside, or Earth Day, get outside, whatever it's called. And we'd love to get your input on some, key possible activities. And I would then actually have like some multiple choice questions. So it's not just open-ended, but I would say, like, just for me personally, I really want to learn how to fly fish. Or I really want to learn more about golf. So maybe there are some clinics, that you could do that day that would be more oriented to adults. But then maybe kids could learn fire safety or, some things that are really important as well. So just some ideas, but
Love
if you're
that.
going to put a poll out, I think it would help everybody, especially with being resourceful, to just keep it kind of framed around what's really realistic and what's possible that you guys can do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the struggle is we did have a fly fishing one year and we have had golf people attend. So obviously we're not getting the message out and/or we're too broad
Okay.
in our messaging. Maybe, it needs to be, we're having a event for fly fishing.
Yeah.
An event for, so it's clearer what you're going to find once you get there and we're reaching the people who are interested in that.
Sounds good.
Again, good feedback. Thank you.
And one more thought too. The corporate sponsorship idea is really good. However, I could see that that's going to be more successful once we get more attendance, so maybe just.
What comes first?
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Miguel.
Okay.
Yes, Commissioner Dennington.
Yes, this is kind of a combo for you and for Elle. Because you served on MIAC, didn't you as well? So what about that partnership? Because you're talking with kids and now you're going to get input and maybe they can collaborate with you on how that looks because we're trying to target that market, that younger kids and trying to.
A great group that we should be engaging more. Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I think if you talk to MIAC, they would help put it on, if not just like suggestions for what to do, but they would definitely be interested in volunteering for it and helping organize it. That's, yeah.
Any additional questions? Commissioner Helms.
Thank you. So just one other thing was because you mentioned fly fishing and golfing. And so Lakeview, you wouldn't believe the amount of kids that are out there all the time, especially during the summertime. They're from lessons to either just sponsorship. I mean, we just had the championship this weekend and they were out there. They were just having a blast. They had their own tournament and stuff. And of course, there was younger ages there, but it would there's a ton of age groups and special discounts that are out there where it kind of floods the course with a lot of youth. So anyway.
Yeah, we do have a lot of programs. Our, swimming lessons fill up very, very quickly. So a lot of what we do is reaching audiences of all ages. So this is just one of those that we're looking to reinvent.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, I'll wrap up. Is that okay? Any other questions? Yep. Just want to also just point out how you can help support the events. I put some of the flyers on your desks. We always love it when you like, share, and comment on our Facebook or Instagram, or when we get, hopefully you guys are all getting our e-newsletters, and we're happy to have you guys share those. Put your flyers, you can print those flyers and put them up at your place of business, but helping get the word out is always super helpful.
Any additional questions for Renee? Thank you, Renee.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All righty, and our final presentation tonight for under new business is Parks and Recs Facility Tour Planning with Director Steve Sidaway.
You, Chair and Commissioners. Ellie, I keep wanting to bring you over with everyone. I feel like you're like stuck in the corner. We should like move your tag over, but meeting's almost over, so. So we are actively planning your next meeting, which is the annual Parks and Rec tour on the bus. Get on the bus, take you around, show you some of the new projects, talk about updates on, brief updates on all the things that we do. City Council also invited, had a couple people from the community already reach out that want to join us as well. What I want to do just briefly is to share with you a bit of a preview of what we've identified so far, but then just seek your feedback and if you have any other ideas. So this year we're thinking, last year we focused heavily on South Meridian. We started and ended at Discovery Park. We did come to North Meridian. We went to Lakeview, which we'll probably do again, but I think our focus will be kind of in the Northwest, and we may my proposal is to start and end here at City Hall. So meet right here, start and end here. We're gonna use our new meeting time of 4 o'clock, which will get us starting earlier and also then ending earlier. So rather than, when we don't start until like 5:30, we usually start with dinner, but I think we will still probably offer a dinner, but do it later on the tour so that we're not having dinner at 4 p.m. The proposal is to meet here at City Hall, get on the bus just right then, pull out no later than 4:15, but really as soon as we can. We would head first to Story Park, talk there about pool operations update and sports update. Usually when we get to either Story or Discovery later in the evenings, there's games being played, the lights are on. This will actually be a little early, so we won't have that as the backdrop, but still a good location to talk about sports. We could then go to Home Court, get off the bus. We've had some pretty major projects in there renovation-wise with, not very sexy, but still a whole new HVAC system for the entire facility. The floors will be redone here in the next couple of weeks, and we may then there will be some youth sports and practices going on there. So we may get off the bus, go into the Home Court. Last time we focused on Base 6, which is the new little community center addition, but this year might focus on the changes for this year have all been in the main facility. We then go to Chateau Park. Many of you were at the ribbon cutting for the new art pieces there with the flowers. We'd like to go by there and make sure everyone has had a chance to see that. Get park maintenance updates while we're driving on the way to Fuller Park. Fuller Park's pathway connection has been very successful. A smaller project in the grand scheme of what we sometimes do of a whole new park, but for the neighborhood there, I have not been to Fuller Park since it's been built that I haven't seen someone using that pathway. I think it's a very successful project. It's a great example of something that came out of a citizen request that we then responded to, and it's been very well received. I'd like to go see that. Then we'll get some other updates while we're driving from there to Lakeview. I think it's still worth going to Lakeview. We were there last year, but we have all new restrooms out there that are worth talking about. And a couple are open, a couple are still coming, but they're happening this year. That's where I think we might go sit on the patio and actually have dinner when we get there. As we're driving, so some of our projects that are worth talking about, but are a little far to drive to, is like the Eva Plimmer Ninja Warrior course is that's a highlight of the year. So it was really drawing me to, well, do we want to drive out to Discovery Park? But we just did a big celebration of Discovery Park as our starting and end point last year. And I think I still want to talk about that. I still want to recognize that. I still want to celebrate that, but we may not drive out there to see it, as it would be a long way to go for just a one-off sort of project, even though it's a very, very, very wonderful one. From there, we may drive. I'm not totally set on this yet, but I'm thinking we may drive out by the Highway 16 pathway underpass connection. We kind of ended our last pathway tour last year where that was going to go, but that project is be awarded now, right? Or out to bid? In the process of being awarded. You'll get an update here at the end of the meeting from Kim on that. But we may drive by there. It'll give us a chance to talk about Northwest Meridian. We won't drive all the way out to the new Fields District Park site, but we'll be within a mile at that point. We can acknowledge that whole effort with the Fields District. We can then go get a classes and camps update as we're driving to Settlers Park, where we can stop at the site for the new community center, give you an update on the community center planning progress, getting ready to go out to bid, et cetera. Talk about events. Did Renee take off? But that'd be a good backdrop for that. And volunteers, and then basically just head back from Settlers Park back to City Hall. So it's just kind of a start and end at City Hall and head through Northwest Meridian. You know, we have a few smaller projects at Kleiner Park. We debated whether to go to Kleiner Park. I think, again, those will be ones that we more talk about. I'm not sure it's worth the drive all the way out there because there's not that much to see. Certainly worth talking about, though. You know, next year we may choose, you know, northeast or southeast, and depending on what's going on. And but the city's getting too big and too spread out to see everything and drive to every one of the projects. So we have to like pick an area to focus on, and we may move that around from year to year. So that's my thoughts in a nutshell. Focus on Northwest Meridian for the drive, but still talk about the other projects as we do that. And I think you'll be, even though I've kind of given you a fairly detailed preview, when you get the details of what's to come and you get it all in one place, I think it'll make for an amazing night of updates and an overview of everything we do, both for you and for the city council members who will join us. So have I left something off the list, would be my first question, that you really want to see, hear, talk about, make sure that we make part of the tour, and any other feedback that you would give me based on that plan. And I would picture this then happening from like 4 p.m. till 7:30, 8 p.m. and we'll be done in that time frame. So back to you for any feedback you'd like to give me. Or you'd like to give me. I don't mean to just look this way.
Any feedback?
And this will be Ellie's last meeting at the
next
tour.
one.
So as long as you're able to make the tour, that will be Ellie's official last meeting. So we want to celebrate Ellie that night a little bit as well.
Absolutely.
Chairman Gelsomino?
Yes, Commissioner Dennington.
Yes. Oh, we will definitely miss you, even though you're way over there. We hardly ever get to, get over there by you. So, but it's been great to have you. One comment is staying away from Kleiner Park around that hour with traffic,
Yeah,
I would think would
be a good thing.
be a great thing to not do. To not go there because it just would be horrible on
Eagle and
Eagle.
Fairview at 5 p.m.
Eagle,
Yeah,
that would not be a good choice, I don't think. I wanted to ask about the new site for the park in the Northwest area. How close is that going to be to the newly annexed that they're doing, the newly annexed property or land that they're doing with the project and all that out there?
I don't know specifically which property you're talking about, but there is an application that's imminent that will include it. So it's, the annexation is coming soon.
So the annexation, yes, because I know I was there when they were talking and they were doing the decision and saying, yes, they were going to put in the new infrastructure for from the Public Works. But I just didn't know how far that actually was from the park that was going to be, yeah, that's going to be a huge project out there that they're doing.
I don't know how far it is from the site that you're talking about, but it's about a mile from Hawaii High School. So
It's going to be pretty close then, I
it'll be
think.
pretty close. Yeah.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bobo.
Yes, so that was the McDermott, the Highway 16 underpass. So Kim will give an update. Basically, as we, from that location, absolutely, pathways update. From there, as we come around to 10 Mile Trail Hub, there'll be more of a, next year, we're getting a restroom there. So there'll be a new Trail Hub project to talk about. This year, it's just a coming soon. There will be a restroom on this site, but yes, there will be a pathways update as part of that.
Commissioner or Chair.
Yes,
Justin.
Commissioner Roberts.
I like the ideas a lot, Steve, and sounds like a good tour. My only thought was I wondered if it might make sense, and if it doesn't, that's totally fine, but to end up at Lakeview for dinner. Maybe it would be less rushed and, but rather than in the middle of the trip, Oh, our car.
Yeah, we need to come back here to,
Oh, yeah, gotcha. So we have to come back
I
here
think it'll be
anyway.
late enough by the time we get there that it can still make sense.
Yeah.
time-wise.
Okay.
One of the other things, frankly, that, Garrett's been a big proponent of this, so kudos to him for having us think about this, but we like to think about not only the updates we're giving you, but some hands-on things that you might do to feel more engaged yourselves rather than just be in listening mode. We have plenty of fun stories to tell, and we look forward to telling those. But, the more we can do, we might get some things out to do at, our two real opportunities to do it would be Home Court or Lakeview. So we might have some opportunities to, swing a club while we're at Lakeview having dinner, or while we're at Home Court, we thought about having one of the girls' teams that are there practicing, run us through some drills or something. But I don't know, we're still thinking through that. But if you had ideas of, we've done things in the past of, getting some of our mowing equipment out and letting our commissioners get on it and drive them around.
That could be dangerous.
So anyway, but if you have ideas for hands-on things that appeal to you, this is really more it's about you as much as it's about us. So if you have things that you'd like to experience, feel free to throw that out there as well.
Yes, Commissioner Helms.
I know we had some discussions about dates on this. Did it change from?
It's not,
Still the 10th?
it's still the 10th.
Okay.
So we were at one point looking at the week before, but we decided to keep it on the normal week.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So, and actually Terry just brought this up, as normally I had introduced her to Taco Tuesday at the Lake House. Anyway, just an option, pretty good tacos, and it's easy to prepare and doesn't take up much time. And since you brought up the Lakeview activity, if you guys, they've got an island out there that you can try and hit balls on. It's just a
Yeah.
blast to hit. And anytime I think I'm really a bad golfer, all I have to do is sit in the clubhouse and watch people on the driving range and think, you know what, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
So anyway, you'll see every.
Maybe we'll bring a prize, help me remember, for anyone who can hit the island with the ball and get it to stay there.
Oh, to stay there, yeah. So,
Yeah.
I may have to recuse myself from that one because I have years and years of practice of golf. So I
Good.
don't want to,
Dominate us.
yeah, I don't want to take the spotlight of that. So I'll stand there and watch.
but
Well-
anyway, I like the agenda, the route, it all works perfect for me, and, and I'd be happy to help you with some, well, there's a whole team out there of really talented people. the Golf Pro Shop is really good. I'm sure if you talk to Pete or Ryan, they'll have a really good idea too. So
Awesome.
thank you.
Well, in closing, the date would be your regular meeting date for September, Wednesday, September 10th, 4 p.m. We would meet here at City Hall, probably right out here and outside in the amphitheater. We probably no need to come inside. We'll probably just say meet at the amphitheater out in the plaza, and we will board the bus and get the show on the road. So thank you.
Thank you, Steve. All right, well, once Steve is back and ready, we'll go straight into staff reports.
It's back on. There's so much going on. I'm trying to think of what the highlights are. It's been a very busy summer full of events and summer camps and classes, and there's a lot. Today's the first day of kids going back to school. So there's so much of what we do on the recreation side that I won't steal the thunder from Garrett, but our big summer activities are wrapping up, and our final Kleiner Park Live is about to happen, and yeah, there's just a lot of the summer craziness, if I can use that, is coming to a close, and we're shifting. Like you saw, the fall activity guide was just released today. So we're very much in a transition mode from summer activities to getting ready for fall activities. There's been, again, I'll let Garrett give the details, but community center's been a huge focus for us this summer. And things are on track, and I'll let him take the details from there. But boy, just a busy summer out at the pool. I think all the lessons went well. We're getting ready to take golf course fees to the city council to get ready for next year's. We already got the new home court fees adopted recently, and looking at my list from a previous agenda, but internally, we'll be holding our end of season staff party in about a month from now, and we'll be doing it out at Lakeview just on a weekday to go out there and celebrate the end of a very busy season and the hard work that all of our staff have done to make it successful. With that, I will stand for any questions.
Do we have any questions for Steve on his staff reports? Hearing none, we'll go over to Garrett.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Like Steve said, we've been doing a lot of different fee review in regards to parks, all of our park fees, shelter fees, field fees, all those kinds of things. Golf fees, home court fees, pool fees. It's just been a lot of fee stuff. I've been in the finance department for a while. I may have mentioned this last month, but the Meridian Youth Baseball Agreement, we're so very close on that to be done. I'm hoping it's done. We're closer than we were last time, but we're right there at the finish line. So we just need them to review it. And if they're good with it, I want them to sign it, and we'll put it to council. So that agreement is extremely close. Like Steve said, community center stuff, we're just in a high level of detail at this point. We're going back and forth looking at restroom fixtures, and when I say that, the paper towels, we want them to match our bulk orders that we get in our parks and our city facilities and things like that. Same with the toilet paper dispensers and just those types of things as we go through things. We're hoping, we're still on track right now to bid it pending budget approval through council in the next couple of weeks. So we're hopeful that it'll still go through. And if it does go through, then we'll hopefully bid it October 1st and go from there. So excited about that. Other things, golf course, we're on pace right now to have about 48 to 49,000 rounds out there between all the stuff going. So that's one of the best years we've had, if not the best year we've had out there at golf. I took a tour last week with Ryan and just kind of drove the course and just kind of get his perspective on things. And the course is beautiful. We picked a really good day. It was like 73 degrees. It was nice. But we just, you know, drove the course, saw some of the restrooms that are being put in, currently, saw some of the trouble areas we have. We have some drainage stuff, which they're working through. But otherwise, the course was beautiful. And I mean, it was packed. It was looking good. So course was looking good. Home court HVAC project was completed yesterday. We opened again today. We have the floor resurfacing project starting August 25th. That'll be closed for about 8-9 days after that, to get all the floor to cure. Pool wise, swim lessons, we had about 2,000 kids again this year go through all the swim lesson program. We had public swim. There's a couple swim teams that were using it all summer, which is the Killer Whales and the Streamliners. So that was great in the morning. And right now it's Rocky Mountain High School's using it, Meridian High School's using it, and Cole Valley. So there's 3 different high schools using it. Cole Valley and Meridian High School kind of merged together just because of the size of Cole Valley right now, but there's 3 different schools using it. And then this last year, we were able to provide private parties for some groups that requested that. So it was going well this year. Sports, fall softball leagues have started out in all of our parks. Fall volleyball league registration deadlines are coming up. We got cornhole going. They're already talking about the summer fun, not summer fun, but the winter holiday classic volleyball tournament. Basketball stuff, registration's open, and just a lot of stuff happening. So you obviously heard from Renee today. So with that, I'll stand for questions.
Thank you, Garrett. Any questions for Garrett on his report? Yes, Commissioner Helms.
Kind of self-serving. I was curious about the rate increase for fee memberships at Lakeview. Proposals?
Sure, we're going through that process right now, getting comparables and stuff like that with other courses, and then kind of seeing where we land and stuff like that. So stay tuned. Nothing's set in stone yet, but
I think we can share that it's based on a 4% increase, then rounded to be at the next whole dollar after tax, because we want it to be at a whole dollar after tax, because it's just easier for everyone there. But
Well, the course is, you know, just Alan Helm's perspective, you know, it's a good deal there. The course, in my opinion, is overplayed. Got about 48,000 people for a short course is a lot of people. But that's all right. I mean, it's getting used. And again, we're seeing a lot of youth from high schools to college to just beginner kids and stuff. And so, there's, yeah. So if anybody else, if you'd like to have a tour of the golf course in my cart, and I'll give you a homeowner's
Sounds
perspective.
great.
So anyway, thank you.
It sounds like it's improved more than 4% in the last couple of years.
I'm sorry, what was
The
that?
golf course sounds like it's improved more than 4%.
Oh, it's unbelievable. I'm telling you what, I think I showed some pictures before and after of the bathrooms.
But the way to decrease the usership is to increase the fees.
Yes.
And it doesn't sound like you're maybe in support of that, or maybe.
No, I am. It doesn't bother me.
You know, it's interesting. Alan brings up those points. You know, I usually go to Lakeview Golf Course, and last Friday, just, you know, I said, okay, I'm gonna try something new this week. Went for the first time in probably 4 or 5 years to Warm Springs. Holy cow. They got a brand new state-of-the-art clubhouse. My jaw was dropped on the floor. And, you know, I just was like, man, we're not the only ones who gave some TLC to our golf course. They really outdid themselves. With that being said, going back to the fee increases, and you mentioned comparables, do renovations like that, especially how recent they were, I think they mentioned it was within the last 2 years, do renovations like that come into the equation when calculating the comparables?
You know, to answer that question, I would say kind of yes and no. I mean, that we use the comparables on the prices and what they provide for like a round of 18, 9 hole, those times card fees, stuff like that. Each course is so hard to compare their amenities because each course is different and unique in its own way. So we're looking, when I say comparables, just what their fees are and what they provide. So if, we'll say if Warm Springs decided that, you know, hey, we need to up our fees or whatever it is, then that fee does, if it's one of our comparable golf courses we have, it would get factored into what our average would be, and we always like to be closer to the average, not the most expensive, but not the least expensive, right in the middle. But our golf course at Lakeview is looking sharp. It looks great. So I think it's a good deal to golf there, but yeah.
And Garrett, one last question. I personally have never had it, never noticed it in the years that I've golfed between when I lived in California and in the 15 years I've lived here. But one of the last times I played 9 holes at Lakeview, there was a fee, someone mentioned that there was a fee that if, for example, let's say I go play and I bring my dad along. He is not playing at all. He's just in the cart with me. There is a fee for a ride along. Is that pretty common across? Okay. Because that was the first time I had become aware of that, and that kind of caught me by surprise.
It's a discounted fee, but at the same time, what we found, or what other golf courses has found, like, oh, I'm just going to go ride with Alan. Well, actually, he's right-handed too, so maybe I'll have a couple shots and I'll finish the last couple holes with you, or whatever it may be. So there is I'll say a ride-along fee that goes
Got
with
it. Okay, thank you. With that, Kim, if you would like to top us off with Pathways.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. I've been in a pipeline of getting things toward construction mode. So Steve mentioned the 5-mile pathway that we'll see next meeting that goes under State Highway 16 from McDermott West to Glassford. That we got 16 bid respondents for that project, which is a lot. So we have an apparent low bidder. So we're in the process of awarding that, and hopefully, I don't know, hopefully we'll at least break ground. That would be the plan. So there might be something to see when we drive by. Also out to bid as of Monday is the restroom. Steve had mentioned that too, at the 5-mile trail hub. So our goal there, I think bids are due on September 11th. And our goal is to construct in the winter, or, as we can, to be ready for our restroom to be delivered sometime in March. So ready the site, basically. And then our Rail with Trail pathway, I'm meeting tomorrow with finance and kind of all the people on the project to just do one final look at the front end bid documents, which are a little bit more involved, and wait for our money to come through, and then plan to bid the Rail with Trail construction in by mid-September. So that one, and that work will need to happen, some of that in the off season as well, because we're dealing with irrigation ditches and the 9-mile drain, which we need to put underground. So off-season work is optimal. Anyways, so those 3 are just kind of in sequence, which I think will make for an exciting tour next time we do a Pathways tour, and we're kind of in a sowing as opposed to harvesting mode, I guess, with projects, but there's a lot getting ready to be constructed now. So I'll leave you with that and answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Kim on Pathways? I don't know if John's still on, but John, do you have any questions? No? All right. Hearing none, Kim, thank you so much. With that, we have concluded all the items on our agenda. So if I could get a motion for the adjournment of tonight's meeting, we'll wrap it up.
Chair Jessamina, I would like to make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
We have a motion from Commissioner Roberts. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dennington. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned until Wednesday, September 10th for our bus tour.